So you would have gotten a little note that this meeting is being recorded. If you could please accept that. And we'll continue to let people in, but I want to welcome everyone. It's great to see you all. I'll tell you that it is snowing in North Jersey. So be on the lookout. Maybe it's on its way to you. My name is Mercedes Witowski. I'm the Executive Director at the New Jersey Council on Developmental Disabilities. And on behalf of the project that we're introducing today, I want to welcome all of you today. This project is entitled Bridging Aging and Disability Networks for Future Planning. We're so excited that New Jersey became one of the first 5 states to participate in this national community of practice. The project, by its conclusion, will have 15 states participating across the country. And these are states that have taken an interest in coming together to try to solve and share ideas of what is working and what could improve in states that could create solutions for individuals that are aging, individuals with disabilities, for family caregivers that are aging who have loved ones with disabilities, and how our systems can work better together for better outcomes for individuals and their families. The National Association of Councils on Developmental Disabilities was awarded this national work through the Administration for Community Living, and they are doing this work in partnership with the Institute on Disability and Human Development at the University of Illinois, Chicago, as well as a few other organizations. The effort is to build capacity across states, again, in this aging and disability network, to coordinate services, to look at capacity, to support and sustain and hopefully replicate any emerging or promising practices and policies that states create, so that as New Jersey works on this project, we're teaming up with the other states across the country that are currently involved and those that will become involved in order to share ideas and gain knowledge from each other. So we're excited about this work. We know that states, as a result, we anticipate states will have a more established and hopefully culturally competent infrastructure that addresses future planning and planning needs, and responding to those unique needs of diverse families. We hope that older adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities can live in communities that will reflect their needs, their wants, and that there will be opportunities for policies to be changed to enable a more coordinated access across aging and disability networks as a result of this work. We are delighted that Andrew Morris, who is the project lead at the National Association on Councils on Developmental Disabilities, is joining in our session today. So I don't see you on the screen because there's a lot of people in the room today, Andrew, but we just want to welcome you and say hello to you, and are glad that you're able to be with us. So in New Jersey, as we were one of the first 5 states to respond to this opportunity, we looked in our work and in our proposal that was submitted by the New Jersey Council on Developmental Disabilities in cooperation and wonderful working relationship with the New Jersey Division of Developmental Disabilities, and you'll meet Patricia Brennan shortly, as well as the Division on Aging Services, and you'll meet Andrea Mancini representing Aging Services shortly. We looked at ways in which we could assemble a state alliance team. Every state has a team. And we organized 15 agencies across the state of New Jersey, that many of whom you'll meet today, to bring together their experience, their expertise, their information, what works within their organizations that is meaningful and important to individuals who are aging and individuals who have intellectual and developmental disabilities, and what doesn't work within those organizations. We are, we have the opportunity through our meetings to talk about those things that are working, not working, and how we ultimately improve our systems that better align and support individuals who are aging and their caregivers. What we found probably the most interesting in that effort is that there was a gap in what we knew about each other. So we assembled this team, but many of us didn't know the other team members, didn't know the work that we were engaged in, and took that opportunity to really get to know one another, to deepen our understanding about those organizations. And in a very, I'll call it a short period of time, in the last year, we've been able to strengthen those relationships. And I think that has been probably the most beneficial initial part of this work. So as we bring now in this public event, as we bring those organizations to you, we hope also that you will learn about various organizations within this space, how to access those organizations. And I will be putting in the chat a link to a resource directory that we developed as part of this grant opportunity, so that you'll have easy access to the individuals on the leadership team and the individuals on the state alliance team. Before I do that, and before we move on for you to meet the players in the New Jersey team, I'd like to introduce Patricia Brennan at the New Jersey Division of Developmental Disabilities, who's going to talk a bit about the vision, the New Jersey vision for this project, and give you a little insight. So, Trish.
Sure. So good afternoon, everybody. And it's really great to see virtually see all of you, and have you all here today. As my student said, we really did do a lot of work from the beginning, learning and knowing what it is the other person does and each agency represents. And you will all learn more about that today. But shortly after we put together the guide, we really wanted to sit together and say, okay, so what is the vision for this Bridging the Gap team? And put it together as a collective group. So get everyone's, thoughts, process, and, where do we want to go? What's our vision and what do we want and what don't we want? We did a group trajectory to figure those pieces out. And we did it all together collaboratively. We typed it all up. And one of the things that we really said was our vision for this statewide advisory team to bridge the gap between aging and disability services was to empower people with how to best map their vision for the future for them and their family members. Getting ideas out there so that people meet people's wants and dreams and help them get to those dreams so that everything is in place. Make it easier to access things. Getting person-centered communication in the community and leverage that involvement in all people's lives. Really focusing on the all, so that all people have the right to live, love, work, and play within their community as we all collaborated together. We wanted some regional representation as part of the vision because, as you all know, parts of New Jersey are completely different from the others. We want to educate our team about what each services are available that they represent and be able to help each other out and not work in silos. So really building our goals upon our communication and how we can best work with people and support them best as they age through life. So across the lifespan. We wanted to make sure that we were able to build and teach the community how to enhance resources and figure out the next steps and support the person and their family holistically across the domain, all life domains. And we didn't want, so we wrote down also what we didn't want, because sometimes it's easier to say, hey, what don't I want? I know what I don't want. I don't know what we do want, but I know what we don't want this group to be. We didn't want people to not know what services and be able not to get the services until it was too late. We want to be able to be proactive for all people. We wanted people to not have difficulty to accessing the services in their community and for the communities to be involved. We also didn't want a system that was not responsive. So we really wanted to enhance any aspects that were already going on. We talked about our current efforts that we have already in place. So we learned about all these different aspects from our statewide advisory team that were starting to already be in place, and we wanted to leverage upon them. So we got them all down on the piece of paper, looking at our core trajectory, as well as some additional ideas or needs, mentoring programs for people as they age, figuring out who else was missing. So we got down on paper that, we need to incorporate and recruit additional people from the community, additional people from faith-based communities, more diverse and inclusive, people. Figuring out how to support people in an equitable way based upon supports needed rather than categorizing them as disabilities or aging. We really wanted to make sure that we figured out those pieces. So our vision was written down on paper, incorporated all people from the statewide advisory team, figuring out the collaboration of each. And again, we started off that whole first few meetings with just laying down the groundwork. Okay, so what do you already do? What's out there? What resources do we have? And then what can we leverage upon? What can we build upon? What additional ideas and needs are there? And we also mapped out some of the additional things that may slow us down. So we got that all on paper first, and then began to act on each aspect of, slowly trying to incorporate aging and DED, cross educational systems as well. So, working together with support coordination in the DED system to educate them on what aging is, working together with some of our other aspects to educate each other. So today we're really excited to move things on so that you all have the opportunity to hear about what each of our statewide advisory team members do.
Thank you, Trish. Appreciate that, and appreciate the partnership that DDD and Aging has with the Council on Developmental Disabilities. So at this time, we're going to walk you through each of our organizations. And I think I see most of those that were able to participate on, so I will call you and we'll go in order. But first, I'll start by talking a little bit about, what the Council on Developmental Disabilities is. So the New Jersey Council on Developmental Disabilities is a federally funded entity that is in, but not of, the New Jersey State Department of Human Services. There is a Council on Developmental Disabilities in every state and 6 U.S. territories. And our role is defined by the Developmental Disabilities Act. And it basically requires that every state and territory have councils that allow individuals with disabilities and families of individuals with disabilities to have a voice in the service delivery system in their state and territory, to express their needs, and to ultimately ensure that the service delivery system is set up in a way in which meets those needs. We are, as a council, we have a staff that work on various in-house projects, and then we also fund some additional projects based on a 5-year plan. Our council members are appointed by the governor of the state of New Jersey. And I see our chair of our council, Paul Blaustein, is joining in this call today. So welcome, Paul. The projects of the council can be found on our website at njcdd.org. And we encourage everyone to, if you have a loved one with disabilities, or you are an individual with disabilities, that you look at the opportunities within the New Jersey Council for self-advocates, those are individuals with disabilities, and family advocates to participate in many opportunities across the state of New Jersey. Locally centered so that people don't have to travel very far, but giving input and having an opportunity to express your needs is the first step toward obtaining the best supports for you and your loved one. Next, we're going to have Trish Brennan talk about the work of NJDDD.
So good afternoon, everybody, again. So just to give you a little bit of history of who I am the director of the Office of Education on Self-Directed Services, the Priority Waiting List, Special Projects, and the team lead for the Community Practice for Supporting Families as New Jersey is a member state. So what is DDD, and who is able to receive services from it? So just to start us off, the mission, the Division of Developmental Disabilities assures the opportunity for individuals with developmental disabilities to receive quality services and supports, participate meaningfully in the communities, and exercise the right to make choices. So that's the true mission of the division. For people so the other question is, who is eligible for DDD services? Person must meet our functional criteria, which is they must provide documentation that you have a chronic physical or intellectual disability that began before you were the age of 22 years old. It is expected to be a lifelong and limit your ability to care for yourself and live on your own.
Thanks, Trish. And none of you have to take notes frantically if you don't know some of these offices and divisions, because this session is being recorded. And I will be putting a link now after I introduce our next speaker in the chat so that you can access all of these State Alliance team members. So next up, I'll introduce Andrea Mancini.
Thank you, Mercedes, and good afternoon to everyone. I just want to say that I'm thrilled to be a partner with the Council and DDD in the work of this grant. It's been just an enlightening and just wonderful experience to learn and share and grow and join with everyone in all of our work. So what I wanted to do is just tell you a little bit about, again, my role with the Division of Aging Services is in working with our 21 county offices on aging as they administer the Older Americans Act funds to help older adults live in the community. And I'll tell you a little bit also about the Division of Aging Services, just so that you know what we as a division offer. The Division of Aging does administer a number of federal and state funded programs that make it easier for older adults to live in the community as long as possible with independence, dignity, and choice. And really that is reflective of the mission of the division. As I mentioned, we do receive federal funding from the Older Americans Act, and we provide oversight of the home and community-based programs that are provided either by or through New Jersey's 21 county offices on aging. They are also known as area agencies on aging or aging and disability resource connections. We do have 2 county offices on aging that are members of the State Alliance team. I know one of them is here today, and she'll be able to tell you a little bit more about the experience of working directly with a county office on aging. So at the division level, additionally, we have state funding that supports programs and services specific to New Jersey or expands service availability and reach beyond the federal funding limits. And these are programs like JACC that you might have heard of, JACC. It's the Jersey Assistance for Community Caregiving, or the statewide respite care program, weekend home delivered meals, the Lifeline Utility Assistance Program, prescription assistance programs such as PAD, which many people are familiar with, PAAD. It stands for the Pharmaceutical Assistance to the Aged and Disabled Program, and Senior Gold. These programs are all available through a consolidated application, or most of these programs, I should say, are available through a consolidated application called New Jersey Save, which is available on our website. Our website's very simple. It's aging.nj.gov, and it's captured in the document that Mercedes is sharing. So what we really encourage individuals to do if they have questions about programs and services that are available for older adults is to really contact your local county office on aging. The information about every county office on aging, again, is found on our website. We also have a statewide toll-free hotline, 877-222-3737. And, you know, as a partner with this work, really what we have been so fortunate to be able to do is to share our expertise on older adult issues and concerns and bring forward programs and services that are available to address those needs. We are certainly learning always about the provision of services for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and we're looking for collaborative opportunities to support those individuals as they age and as their caregivers age. And it's really through that relationship building process that Mercedes and Tricia had already mentioned. And we have already started to really make some good strides with that in terms of having aging services work with DDD to provide education and training. And we're looking for reciprocal opportunities with that. And also to attend different events where we can learn about each other's services and again, look for those opportunities for collaboration. So again, it's just been a wonderful experience, and we look forward to the continued partnership and the continued learning. So thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. And I did put a link to the directory in the chat, so I hope you all can access it. Now we're going to introduce you to our State Alliance team members. We knew that it was important to have a very robust team moving into this project. And when we talk about, speaking different languages, that is one thing that we are very conscientious of in our state, being the most diverse state in the country. However, we learned that we speak different languages within our organizations. Within aging, within DDD, within our children's systems. We don't use the same terminology, which makes it very challenging for individuals and families as they age and they progress through the systems of support in their lives. So we knew that we wanted to have as robust a group of State Alliance team members as we could bring together so that we could internally begin to speak the same language, internally be able to understand what individuals and families face as they move through the systems or they access services across systems at the same time. So as we introduce this State Alliance team, we hope you will see the diversity and the scope and the breadth of folks that we invited to the table. I will introduce people, at least by name, who were not able to join us today, but we'll turn now to Gwen Orlowski at the division, the Disability Rights New Jersey to share a little bit about that organization. Gwen.
Great. Thanks, Mercedes. Just a thumbs up that you can hear me. So I'm really happy to be here and talking to everybody today. I'm going to give my little disclaimer first. There's stuff, I'm working from home today. There's a lot going on that just started at 2 o'clock. So I apologize if there's background noise because there's a lot of noise going on right now. So I am from Disability Rights New Jersey. We are the designated protection and advocacy agency for the state of New Jersey under federal law. That's a real mouthful, but it has a lot of significant meaning. So I'm going to just take 2 seconds to explain that. Protection and advocacy agencies are part of the partnership under the DD Act that Mercedes mentioned before with NJCDD, and I think you're going to be hearing also from the Boggs. So we're created by federal law. We initially existed in state government. We came out as a nonprofit in 1994. We were designated by Governor Christie Todd Whitman, and once designated, absent good cause, which has never happened, you remain the designated protection and advocacy for your state. And every state and territory has a protection and advocacy agency. We operate, as I mentioned, under federal law. That doesn't only mean that we get federal funding, which is the main source of our funding, but we also have significant authority that comes directly from federal law, which I'll touch on really quickly. We have authority to do investigations of abuse and neglect, and that includes significant access to records that are brought to our attention. We monitor any setting that a person with a disability is receiving services, which means we get to go in, walk around, talk to people, talk to staff, make observations about the physical plant, so on and so forth. And that's sort of really preventative of abuse and neglect. And then we also have significant legal authority, or essentially a law firm inside of the protection and advocacy. So we can represent individuals in individual matters, as well as systemic litigation, class actions, and we can be the plaintiff ourselves on behalf of people with disabilities. So it's a really significant federal authority. We also give technical assistance to people who don't have disabilities, like providers or attorneys, and we do a lot of education and self-advocacy work. We also do other things, but I'll keep it to that for right now. I want to say that we do our work-based priorities, is the federal term. We call them goals and objectives that we have to set each year in October. And our 2024 goals and objectives are on our website. I think it's a pop-up. So when you go, it's like the first thing that comes. So I really encourage people to go look at those objectives, those goals and objectives. We've tried to be very concrete to convey to people exactly what we're focusing on for this year. And every year we take input and then revise those goals and objectives that really proactively guide the work that we do each year. I want to touch a little bit on a couple things we do that I think are at that intersection of disability and aging. I mean, I think there's a lot of work that we do that falls into that category. We've been doing a lot of work in nursing homes, and that is really to help divert people from nursing homes with disabilities, including intellectual and developmental disabilities, as well as transition out of nursing homes. And that includes older adults. And sort of dovetailing with that, I think, is ensuring that people as they age who want to remain in their homes in the community, for example, a group home, can do that they can get the services and supports that they need as they age, that are akin to all of us as we age, right? All of us as we age may need help taking a shower, or getting dressed, or with meal preparation. And those typical aging processes should not close the door to community living for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, or anybody, frankly. So we focus on that. And part of focusing on that is ensuring that our state is following federal law that guides services in home and community-based settings. Another significant focus of our work this year that really affects people of all age, but we have certainly seen many older adults with IDD, is ensuring that people retain their Medicaid as we have come to the end of the public health emergency and people are facing Medicaid renewals. We're frankly inundated with these cases right now. We're working really hard, and we're also working with the state Medicaid agency and with DDD to identify where we can quickly solve problems. But again, that's focused on people of all ages, but we have seen quite a few older adults, and I would encourage people that come across those situations that those referrals can be made to us. And the last thing that I'm going to say about some of the work that we do is that we work really closely with our state's long-term care ombudsman. And so there's a real synergy there between people with disabilities, IDD, and older adults. And I think I'm actually uniquely positioned, maybe even in the country on this, that I was New Jersey's long-term care ombudsman. So I really have this deep background. And when I was at the Public Advocate, also did both aging work and disability work. So, really at that intersection between the issues that are important for people as they age and people who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. So I really welcome this work and this focus in New Jersey. Thank you, Mercedes.
Thank you, Gwen. And now for the third prong of the DD Act partners, I'll introduce Margaret Gilbride of the Bog Center.
Hi, everyone. It's lovely to almost see you in real life. The Bog Center is New Jersey's federally designated university center for excellence in developmental disabilities. And we concentrate on community-based lifespan approaches to meeting the needs of individuals with developmental disabilities and their families. Within the Bog Center, our aging work focuses on both the experiences of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities aging themselves and the experiences of their aging caregivers, parents, siblings, loved ones, even direct support professionals. We tend to be an aging profession these days. We look at the similarities and the differences between aging with and without a disability. And we look at the healthcare disparities that are realized oftentimes in different settings for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities versus their more traditional peers. And we look at shared decision-making strategies around healthcare, around end-of-life choices, both for persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities, as well as those who are facing end of life for their caregivers. We provide training and technical assistance, training both in person and virtually to professionals, family members, and related service providers on topics such as physical, mental, and social dimensions of aging, and the impact of aging on direct services, both residential and day services for folks. And we look at best practices for program development and for sharing information with caregivers about the intersection of their own aging, because we have so many caregivers now who are over the age of 60, both in our own state and nationally, who are facing their own realities of aging while supporting the realities of aging in their adult children with IDD. Technical assistance is available in person, by phone, virtually, to families, employment, and residential programs. And the typical areas for technical support are around curriculum development for individualized day services, assessment of residential settings and services, and we often provide tips on how to effectively plan around such topics as aging caregivers and the impact of aging on the focused person. That's pretty much what we do around aging, and I'd encourage you, when you look at the resource page, to just check out all of the myriad services that are available through the Bog Center. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Margaret. Appreciate your update and information that you've provided for us. Next, we're going to go back to our state offices, and Jackie Moskowitz is representing the New Jersey Division of Disability Services. Jackie, I saw you somewhere before, so if you could.
I'm here.
There you are.
Good afternoon. My name is Jackie Moskowitz, and I'm the Assistant Division Director at the Division of Disability Services. The Division of Disability Services, also known as DDS, provides a single point of entry for New Jerseyans seeking information about programs, services, and supports available to residents with disabilities. Focused on promoting independence for individuals with disabilities in all areas of life, DDS aims to streamline the pathway to information and services, as well as to advance greater access, equity, and inclusion. At DDS, we have an information referral unit that connects callers to live, professionally certified community resource specialists specifically trained in aging and disability services. We administer the Personal Assistance Services Program, otherwise known as PASP, which is a personal care assistance program that provides non-medical PCA up to 40 hours per week to self-directing adults with a permanent physical disability, ages 18 and older, who are working, attending school, or volunteering. We also administer the Traumatic Brain Injury Fund, which offers supports and services to foster independence and maximize quality of life for survivors of traumatic brain injuries. Our DDS communications email comes out twice per week and includes important information including funding opportunities, resources, and training and information. Our New Jersey resources, DHS resource directory, which probably many of you are familiar with. We actually have a new look. Is printed biannually with approximately 30,000 copies distributed annually through mailings, events, and by request. The reformatted version released in 2023 has an enhanced accessibility. An electronic version of this directory is updated regularly to reflect changes as they occur and available on our website. Additional resources of interest are the Guide to Accessible Parking, have been compiled and created by the division and are available on our website. Print copies of all DDS brochures and materials are also available upon request. Additionally, we promote the New Jersey Able and New Jersey Workability and manage several initiatives focused on health and wellness. Our Disability Health and Wellness Unit partners with sexual and domestic violence providers to ensure accessibility and inclusion. The Inclusive Healthy Communities Grant Program, or IHC, is the division's newest initiative. This is a nationally unique program designed to advance efforts that result in tangible and sustainable transformation of policies, practices, systems, and environmental conditions to ensure that people with disabilities equitably benefit from efforts to build healthy communities. This program was launched during the pandemic in January of 21 with an initial budget of 1.6 million. In fiscal year 24, the budget was increased to 2 million, and we have just begun our third funding cycle, funding 13 grantees. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be part of this initiative and to present today, and our contact information will be in the document that Mercedes provides.
Thank you, Jackie. I do also see Carol Grant from the New Jersey Division of Medical Assistance and Health Services is with us. And Carol, can you spend a few minutes?
I
with
can.
us?
I'm sorry I didn't come really prepared with a whole presentation, but because I didn't think I'd be able to come. But obviously, New Jersey Medicaid is an important partner in all of this with every other state agencies and community partners and our advocacy stakeholders. We really provide health benefits to 2.2 million New Jerseyans, which is really about 20% of the population. It's huge. Currently, we're in the middle of sort of reverting to normal Medicaid operations and undertaking the renewal of eligibility for, again, 2.2 million beneficiaries. We've been working with our community partners to make sure that we're not losing people for simple failure to respond to renewal mailings. And this affects, this includes every part of our population from birth to death, literally. We support in healthcare, obviously, healthcare coverage is vital. We want to make sure that if people are eligible, they remain eligible. We renew about 1/12 of our population during this unwinding period every month, and we're expected to complete the entire process within a year from April 1st. We need every community partner and everyone that we can, every stakeholder, to really help us undertake this really enormous undertaking. It's probably the biggest and most widespread eligibility redetermination, I think, in the history of the country, certainly in the experience of New Jersey. We cover kids, we cover aging, we certainly cover people with disabilities, and we attempt to do that in the best way possible. I doubt if many people here are not familiar with New Jersey Family Care or New Jersey Medicaid, depending on how you know the program. But we have a full range of benefits, We probably are one of the most robust Medicaid programs in the nation in terms of what we cover and who we cover. I'm not sure really what else I can add here, except to say that we join you, and hopefully you will join us to make sure we do not lose one eligible person in this year-long period of redetermination. And for people with disabilities who are working, for children, this is a most critical process, and we sort of ask you to join us. I'm here less to give you something than to ask for your help and assistance. And if there's any way that you can, in fact, participate in community meetings, community events that you could let us know about so that we can get the message out. We want to talk to families, we want to talk to everyone we can to make sure people understand how important this is and how important it is in their lives. I think that's sort of about it.
Thanks, Carol. No, that's an important message. Thanks for delivering that. Thanks for joining us today. We know how busy the Medicaid office is right now, but we know how important it is for people's lives to be connected to the services and supports that they need. So without Medicaid, many things just don't happen. So thank you for joining us.
Sure.
Next up, I'll invite Paul Aronson, our ombudsman for individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities and their families, the longest title that we have on our SAT. Paul.
Thanks, Mercedes. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad to be here with all of you and grateful to be part of this larger initiative. It's such an important effort being undertaken here. Our office, as many of you probably know, is one of the newer ones. It's just under 6 years old. It was created by the New Jersey State Legislature in December of 2017, signed into law by Governor Christie in January 2018, and I was appointed by Governor Murphy in April 2018. So it's about operational for about 5.5 years. And it's an office which is unique, not just unique in New Jersey, but really, to the best that we can tell, unique nationwide. And it's an office that was born out of the recognition that while here in New Jersey, we have a lot of resources for children as well as adults and families with intellectual developmental disabilities. It's a very complex, at times overwhelming system, and it's very difficult to navigate. We're talking about lifelong disabilities. And so, once you get through today's challenge, there's another set of challenges. So they created this office, and we're here to be a resource for individuals and families on every issue imaginable, including aging. We work with, we work with children, we work adults, families across the entire state. The legislation that sort of created our office listed a series of responsibilities, and we've thrown them into 3 buckets. One is really, again, just to be a resource to help connect families and individuals with the programs, with the policies, help them navigate the system, help them advocate, help them get those services and supports that they need, and very importantly, that they deserve. And we do everything we can to work with individuals in a very personal way. I probably spend about 80% of my time just helping families troubleshoot the system, work through, maybe it's a single issue here, maybe it's a whole series of issues. Some individuals come to us for just one-offs. They just have a quick question on something. A lot of families we've been working with for almost the entire time I've been in this office. Because again, these are lifelong disabilities, and we work, today it's something, tomorrow it's something else. So we really try to help families get those services and supports they need and deserve. The second bucket is really trying to use our position to try to help improve the system of care, to make it more accessible, more user-friendly, more person-centered. And we do that because, again, we work very closely, very personally with individuals and families. And so from them, we learn firsthand what the challenges are, what's not working often, what's working and what's not working. And we try to use that, that knowledge that we gain, and we share it with our colleagues in the governor's office and the different departments, really trying to serve as a nexus between those making decisions and those impacted by those decisions. And third, and sort of overarching, we really try to do everything we can to help make sure that the voice of individuals and the voice of families is heard, and that it's heard in a meaningful way on those issues that directly impact that individual and family, but again, in that larger policy discussion that takes place. And we do that through our day-to-day conversations with our colleagues throughout the government and through the advocacy community and the provider community. We do through an annual report that we do every year. And we really try to work with, the experts. And when I say experts, I'm talking about the individuals and families sort of living with disabilities, and try to use that knowledge and use those insights and those experiences to improve the system. Because again, no voice, as we all can appreciate, no voice matters more than the individuals and the families at the center of it all. Again, I try to, we take a very personal approach to our work. We talk on the phone all day with families on video like this, and to the extent possible, visit with them where they live, where they work, where they go to school. To me, that's, it's a blessing to be able to sort of be invited into a family's home to sit down with them. Not only does it make it easier for them because they don't have to travel to Trenton or wherever, but it really gives us a perspective of the challenges and the situations that the family's facing. We get to meet the family members, we get to see the homes, and and really get an opportunity to sort of learn their experience, if you will, up close and personal. And again, it helps us not only to help them, but again, to inform the larger policy discussions that take place. We're available to anybody. Again, our focus is intellectual and developmental disabilities, but anybody who comes to us with whatever type of disability, whatever challenge, we try to help them and try to point them in the right direction and connect them to the resource. So if any of you are hearing about us for the first time, feel free to reach out. Just email me directly. You can call us, whatever, we'll connect with you, and we'll do what we can to help. So thanks very much, Mercedes.
Thanks, Paul. So we have about 6 more folks that are going to introduce themselves. If we run a little over, but you need to leave at 3, no fears. This will be recorded. You'll be able to catch any of the additionals, but I would like to give each of our next 6 speakers the opportunity to introduce their organizations. And we understand if you have to drop off at 3, but we'll stay on to finish the recording. So next up, we have Ava Loveland with the Warren County Division of Aging and Disability Services. Ava.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I am a social worker and the assistant program coordinator here at Warren County Division of Aging and Disability Services. Our office is well known to be an aging and disability resource center, where we provide information and assistance to older adults as well as adults who are living with a physical disability, in addition to their caregivers. I'm going to go over some of the services that we offer here in Warren County, but these services are pretty accessible to any of your county Division of Aging and Disability Services. So some of the services that we offer are, we do benefit and entitlement screening. So our intake and information assistance social workers will sit down with the client, they'll go over what they're in need of, and do an eligible screening for not only the services that we offer here in our office, but also make referrals out to community offices and agencies that might better fit the client and their needs. We also offer our 4 nutrition centers here in Warren County, where we provide our Meals at Home program and our Mom's Meals. We also have our transportation services, where we're able to provide medical transportation to individuals who are no longer able to drive and need to go to their medical appointments within the county, in addition to 30 miles outside of the county. We just started our veteran services program. This is something that's new here in Warren County. We just hired our VSO officer, who's able to advocate and provide supports to our veterans. They're making heavy efforts to also connect with other county VSOs to connect and bridge that gap for our veterans and their needs. We also have our Adult Protective Services program here in the office, where we conduct investigations of neglect, abuse, or financial exploitation to anyone who's over the age of 18. We also have our Jersey for Assistance and Community Caregivers program, also known as JAC. This provides long-term care services in the home through case management and our social workers here in the office. And another service that we also offer is our PASP services, our Personal Assistance Service Program. This is something that's for adults who are over the age of 18, living with a permanent physical disability, and are either working, volunteering, or going to school. Provides supports for them into the community to be an active participant. We also have a caregiver supports program through a liaison who works directly with the caregivers and providing support systems for them. And then we also have our in-home mental health counseling, where we provide through our licensed professional counselor. We have 3 mental health counseling appointments that are set up and then referred out to a long-term care counselor if needed. And then lastly, something I'll go over is our Medicare counseling. This is our busy time of the year. We have open enrollment until the 7th of December, where we have the opportunity for individuals to sit down, go over their Part Ds, A's, and B's, to see if their current Medicare plan is working for them or if it needs to be switched. Again, this is something that all of these services are offered very similarly to other county resources. So if there's something that you're interested in, I would recommend that you reach out directly to your counties. But thank you for the opportunity, and very happy to be a part of this team and being able to bridge our gaps closer together. So thank you.
Thank you, Ava. Another member of our State Alliance team couldn't join us. Her name is Barbara Nedahan. She's the Cumberland County Office on Aging and Disability Services. Next, I'd like to invite Kathy Rowe from New Jersey Advocates for Aging Well to describe her organization to you. And I saw you, Kathy. We didn't lose Kathy. We might have lost Kathy. Okay. Well, that's why that handy dandy resource directory is there for you. You can get all the information about New Jersey Advocates for Aging Well. If Kathy comes back in the room, I will invite her. Also part of our State Alliance team who couldn't be with us is Javier Robles. He's a professor at Rutgers and also leads the New Jersey Disability Action Committee, and you'll have information in your directory there as well. Next up, I think here is Leonie Murphy, the New Jersey Family Support Group for individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities and dementia.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and I am honored to be part of this initiative. And I think my major contribution is that I am the founder and chairperson for the Family Support Group for the state of New Jersey for families who have a loved one with IDD and are aging and dementia. I have an extensive background. I'm a nurse practitioner. I've worked in the field of dementia, mental illness, and IDD for many, many years. I'm also a parent of a daughter with Down syndrome who will be turning 50 this Friday, I have to say. And our family support group is mainly comprised of siblings of the individuals. Many of the parents are in their 70s and 80s and have their own severe medical issues. And then the siblings are taking over, and there are so many questions. First of all, the guardianship issues are huge. The Medicaid issues are huge. The course of the dementia that their sibling is facing, big decisions, do they want to have a feeding tube inserted? So many questions. We meet monthly, but we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and many times I do get calls. I'm also the chairperson for the ARC of New Jersey's Mainstreaming Medical Care Advisory Board. I'm a member of the National Task Group on IDD and Dementia, and I am the administrator for the Robert Wood Johnson Behavioral Health Statewide Clinical Outreach Program for the Elderly, which is kind of scary considering New Jersey considers anyone over 55 elderly, just for all of you. And we work mainly with people with dementia. So thank you so much. I'm honored to be part of the group.
That is scary. And thank you for sharing with us. I am going to go back up my list because I did not see you there, Javier. I don't know how I missed you, maybe because there's so many people on my screen. But Javier, please take a few minutes to address us.
Sure, thank you. I'm the chair of the New Jersey Disability Action Committee. I'm also a professor at Rutgers University in the Department of Kinesiology and Health. Really briefly, we've been doing a lot of things at the university in terms of disability awareness. And we just had our second Disability Awareness Month at the university, and we had over 34 programs throughout the university relating to disability. And we had the Bog Center partner with us and a bunch of other university partners. And we actually now have a disability studies minor finally at the university after almost 8 years of trying to push it through. So our students will be able to benefit from it. So we are also, if you have any ideas about classes and things that we can offer at the university and in particular departments, let me know, because we're also looking to expand some of those electives. But in terms of the New Jersey Disability Action Committee, I just shared a petition. We are trying to continue our advocacy efforts and not let people forget about some of the issues that we faced during COVID-19 around people with disabilities, and the fact that the state of New Jersey still doesn't have an emergency preparedness unit in that office. So this petition is asking Senator Scutari to release the bill. I think this is the last step. Once that's done and voted on, I believe it goes to the governor's office. So hopefully, if you all can get the word out, that would be great. We're only one natural crisis away, or, God forbid, another pandemic away from being pretty close to where we were not too long ago. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you already know that. We are looking for new members in the New Jersey Disability Action Committees. If you know individuals with disabilities or groups that wish to join us, we are now officially a 501c3, and we're going to be working on a 501c4 so that we can also advocate at a political level. So that's it for me. Thank you, Mercedes.
Thanks, Javier. I'm sorry I missed you. Next up, People First Self-Advocate representing Bergen County is Sonia Burrows. I did see you, Sonia, so I think, yep, you're there. Just if you could unmute.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me, Mercedes. I am the facilitator for the People First organization, formerly known as Monday Morning. Monday Morning was formed for the state of New Jersey, for the 21 counties, and we became People First about 20 years ago. And basically, People First, we work with people with disabilities to make things more accessible and more affordable for people with disabilities to be able to live their lives. And we work on issues like legislation, accessibilities, and things that will make things easier for people with disabilities, and also to inform people the importance of letting people know that people with disabilities are like anyone else. And we also try to make things more accessible and give information out to people with disabilities, and also to advocate for them. And so I would like to invite anyone with any type of aging issue, if they would like to be involved with People First, to let me and anyone that is with my organization know, and we can help them with anything that they need. And they can also talk to anyone with the organization, Frank, basically with Frank Latham and you, or anyone who needs any type of assistance. And they can get back to me, and I'll try and help them as any way that I can. Thank you, and I hope that things will get better for people with disabilities, primarily people with aging issues.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you for the work that you do with your group and others in advancing self-advocate voices across the state of New Jersey. Another self-advocate member who could not join us today is Anthony Vasquez. We're really just delighted to have both of you self-advocates representing the voices of people with disabilities and bringing those issues to our discussions. We have two other speakers who are joining us today. Our Regional Family Support Planning Council representative, Eileen Hurley.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll try to keep it brief since we're a little over time. So the Family Support Planning Councils were formed in accordance with the 1993 Family Support Act. And with that, the New Jersey Council on Developmental Disabilities formed the Regional Family Support Planning Councils. There's 10 councils representing the entire state, and we're comprised of family members and self-advocates, people with disabilities. We're all volunteers. And what our mission is to advocate for families and individuals with developmental disabilities at a local and state level on issues that impact their lives. And we also collaborate with several of the New Jersey Departments of Human Services, DDD, Department of Children and Families, the Division of Children's System of Care. So we are actually representing, as Tricia said, from birth to earth kind of a thing. And so I'm very happy to be representing us in this committee. And just a bit about us, you can find out about all of our what we've been doing on the NJCDD website. There's a link to what we do, but I could just briefly say that we advocate, we educate, we empower. That's our mission. And we also have some committees, including the Family Advisory Council, where we work with the Division of Developmental Disabilities. We also have the Children's System of Care Collaboration Subcommittee, the Health and Safety Subcommittee, and the Public Relations Strategies Committee, all in collaboration with state leaders. And we also are represented with Paul Arontz's office as well, and he's very helpful to us as well. So again, I think that it's a good opportunity for us to get involved because as myself, I'm I'm kind of the aging caregiver myself. I have a 32-year-old son that lives at home with us still. And so, you know, it's definitely an important initiative that we've got going here to just represent our aging population. So again, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. And before we move to our last speaker, one of our other members of our State Alliance team is Norman Smith. He's representing statewide independent living centers across the state, and you have a link in the directory to the centers as well. And for our last speaker, and then we will take any questions that you might have for those of you that are remaining, so stay with us. Or drop it in the chat while we hear from Lisa Ford, who's with the ARC of New Jersey. Lisa.
Thanks, Mercedes. Anybody who lives in the middle of the state, I've watched the temperature now drop 3 degrees. So just
I told you the
know.
snow was hitting North Jersey, so it's on its way, folks.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lisa Ford, and I'm the Senior Director of the ARC of New Jersey Family Institute. The ARC of New Jersey is the largest advocacy organization and service organization for children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. The ARC of New Jersey was founded in 1949 by families of individuals with IDD. We serve the entire state of New Jersey through our local county chapters, there's 20, and our out-of-state programs. We have several programs here at the state ARC, and we are highly involved in public policy advocacy and governmental affairs activities. I'll give you a brief overview of our programs, but if you're looking for more information, visit www.arcnj.org. All the information will be there as well. So our first program is the New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project, which offers self-advocacy meetings, trainings, and virtual programming, advocacy events, and legislative advocacy campaigns, and voting alongside individuals with IDD. Our Family Institute program provides families with the necessary resources and education to access the appropriate supports and services for their loved one with IDD. We do this through individual advocacy, systems advocacy, really anything that a family needs to navigate through the system, we try to help with that. So the Family Institute has its own website, so I implore you to take a look at that, and it's www.thearcfamilyinstitute.org. Our Children's Advocacy Program provides information around EI, the Children's System of Care, and special education. Again, we do this through training and education, engagement, individual advocacy, and systems advocacy. Our Healthcare Advocacy Program helps with information and advocacy regarding Medicaid, SSI, and quality health care for individuals with IDD. Our Criminal Justice Advocacy Program provides alternatives to incarceration and case management for people with IDD in the criminal justice system. Our Planning for Adult Life program assists young adults 14 to 21 with IDD in charting a life course for adulthood. For more information about that, the Planning for Adult Life program also has its own website, so you'll go to planningforadultlife.org. Our supported employment program called Project Hire is the oldest and largest provider of supported employment in the state of New Jersey. Project Hire helps with both job placement and job coaching. We have a camp, Camp JC, which is our residential camp for individuals 7 to 77, and it's located in Effort, PA. Please visit our website for more information about our organization. And again, that's arcnj.org. You can also send me an email if you're looking for guidance at lford@arcnj.org. Thanks, Mercedes.
Thank you, Lisa. So now you've heard from almost all of our State Alliance team members and had an understanding as to what the work of the New Jersey Bridging IDD and Aging Services has been up to for its first portion of our work. We have 3 years to go. Our efforts for the rest of this year are to really encourage and engage the cross-pollination, the ability to collaborate, coordinate the services across our State Alliance team members to bring information to the public so that you have access to that information. You know, within the State Alliance team, if we didn't know what other organizations were doing, we have to assume that the public was equally unaware and or didn't have access to the organizations that have been able to support IDD and aging work. So we look forward to bringing you additional information. We will continue reaching out to all of you, but we would also like to hear from you. I know that we're at the end, well past our time, but because of the recording, we wanted to make sure that we could have all organizations introduced. We'll encourage you to reach out to any of the organizations that you might be familiar with and those that you're not familiar with in order to gain additional information, access the services and supports that you need for either yourself, your loved one, or constituents that you work with. I don't see anything in the chat that we need to respond to at this time. So we will bring this portion of our work with you to a close today. Thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to keeping you apprised of the work that we're engaged in, and we look forward to hearing from you on any areas that we can focus on. We can end the recording.